Somebody's why you go low. Somebody's why you go low. I need you love today. I need you right away. Somebody's in this way. Somebody feels like no one cares. Somebody's in this way. Somebody feels like no one cares.
People think they have me figured out, but I'm always a wild card. The crown is heavy, darling, so just leave it where it belongs.
Everything in this recording is all alleged.
Hi guys, welcome back to All Roads Lead to Bravo. I know that I was supposed to give like a summary of all the shows in one episode, and then I was looking as I was recording, I'm like, it was getting too long and I did not want to make it past 30 minutes. So I'm hoping that this episode I can, talk about Potomac, Miami, and maybe try and squeeze in some others, but I don't want to talk, I'm going to try my best. Okay, so stay with me. And thank you guys if you've been here this long. Thank you guys for watching or listening to the last video. Subscribe, like, downloads, and all the good stuff. I really appreciate it. I'm really nervous. This is something new that I'm doing, and I'm really happy that, and I hope that you guys are loving it. If you have any constructive criticism, please let me know. I'm like ready to work on it as well, right? So, okay, let's start today. And today is Potomac. Now, naturally, I am excited about Potomac because, like I said in my last episode, I am Nigerian. I'm also Igbo. So I have a lot to say when it comes to the Osu storyline. I think I'm going to talk about that because I think that's kind of like the heaviest, and then I can go to Robin and then go down from there. So let's start from there. So grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, grab whatever you want to grab, and let's go. All right. So starting with Osu, I don't want to talk about like where it's from and all of that and give like a history on it. No, I'm just going to talk straight up. Now, one thing I know about Osu, because I am Igbo, I am from Delta State, but the Igbo part of Delta State. Nigeria is divided into different cultures, different tribes, different states. We have 36 states. And when it comes to the Igbos, we're all in the east, right? Osu is something that has been happening for years. It's called Osu system. It's something that has been happening for years. Like when I mean years, I mean, I don't even know, like our grandparents or great-grandparents for years and years and years. Unfortunately, it's sort of like racism. That's how I'll put it, so that you guys can understand. Because I understand that you guys don't have any idea. I've looked at clips online. People don't really understand why, I guess, Wendy and Ineka are like, surprised and shocked and like talking about it. It's something that, so I think, I'm going to use American terms because I've seen on social media and I think you guys don't really understand it. So I'm going to try to give an example kind of in a way that you guys would understand. I'm going to explain it in a way that non-Nigerians can understand. And even when it comes to Nigeria, so many Nigerians still don't understand it. So non-Igbo Nigerians also can understand, and Africans and every other person can understand. So in Nigeria now, we have a lot of cultures, a lot of languages, a lot of tribes. We have three major ones. We have Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. Now, the Igbos are in the eastern side. The Yorubas are in the western side. The Hausas are in the northern side, right? Now, when it comes to the Igbo side, those of us in the east, there is something called an Osu system. It's something that, and I will use this word, racism, so that you guys can understand. Pretty much in the olden days, there were some people that were just outcast. For whatever reason it might be that maybe your ancestor was disobedient to like the king, or inferior to the king, or had just different, that's how crazy it was. It was for whatever reason, but you were cast as an Osu. And that has basically followed ancestor and, from generation to generation, basically. Now, in the olden days, and I'll speak for my own village, in the olden days, it was so crazy that to the point that if the king died, they would bury an Osu alive with the king as like a sacrifice to the gods. That crazy. So it's been abolished now. And I think one of the major things about Osu is that an Osu cannot marry a non-Osu. It was not allowed. An Osu can marry an Osu. A non-Osu can marry a non-Osu. But you cannot mingle and mix. No. Even till today, it's still an unspoken rule. And this is 2023. It's been abolished since 1950 something, but till today, it's still practiced in some parts of Nigeria, and the marriage part is still true to today. So you had to be, that's why I think it's so a sensitive topic to talk about. And we sort of something that if you live in the city or you live out of Nigeria, you kind of don't think about it. But if you live in the villages, it's something that is still true to today. So going back into Potomac, I can understand why Wendy and Neka are talking about this and why they're like shocked and the conversation is, unnerving, basically. All right. So now that you guys understand what Osu is, and I hope if you have more questions, ask me and I will answer it. Let's talk about Potomac. This season of Potomac, we come to Ashley. We see Ashley meet with Neka, who is a new person. She's Igbo, and it's pronounced Ineka. It's actually Neka, but I guess to help you guys kind of, I think if you put an E, I think you should be able to pronounce it better than just Neka. Anyways, so we meet Neka and Ashley, where they're talking about, Neka's coming new into the cast, and Ashley, brings up the article, and we all know Ashley's messy as hell. Ashley brings it up, and Neka quickly says, hey, I'm not Osu, and I don't know if Wendy is. And that's pretty much how we are in Nigeria, really, like at least in the Igbo part, whenever it comes up, because we, the younger generation, we really don't know if you are or you're not. You only know you are when maybe you want to get married, and then you're like, I'm trying to get married to so and so, and they're like, oh, you can't get married to that person. It's because there's an Osu, and they might even bring it up and say, well, you guys are not. He's Osu or you are Osu. You can't get married. When Wendy insinuated that the gele thing, that's irrelevant. That's wrong. Osus have families, for Christ's sake. People would always come for your parties. I can attend an Osu person's party. Doesn't mean anything. No. Growing up, I had an auntie that came to the house, and I think one of like their relatives was getting married, and then she was like, oh, they're Osu, and the person that they're trying to marry is not Osu, and the family doesn't want them to get married. And that's how I knew, oh, wow, okay, they're Osu, okay, and, my mom told me everything about Osu and the whole thing. So it is frowned upon even till now. It's been abolished. It is frowned upon, but they still have some, people who are very deep into that tradition that do not even want them to mix. That's pretty much it. I know that everyone hangs out with everyone does whatever everyone, but those that are still in deep, like in it deeply, would not let their own like family marry someone from that family. That's pretty much, I think, the highest of it at the moment. That I think that's kind of like the main problem, because I know there was some years ago there was a couple who actually committed suicide because their parents are not going to let them get married because one was Osu and the other wasn't. Which is like some years ago, maybe 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years ago. But yeah, that's like prior to Potomac. That was like the last time I heard something about Osu. So yeah, it does happen. It is unfortunate. It is something that is still happening deep in the village, the tradition, but not. If you're kind of educated, you've moved past, like, my parents are not going to talk about Osu. No. No. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't even go to the village. Do you understand? Like, I go to the village, obviously, with my parents, but, like, I did not grow up in the village, so I don't know those things. So I'm not going to talk about it. So these are things that we, as you grow up, you sort of kind of kill and move forward, generation by generation. It just gets killed and we move forward. And so I understand why it's kind of a touchy topic to talk about on the show. So now let's go back to the show. Ashley brings it up to Neka, and Neka is like, yo, I'm not Osu. I don't know if Wendy is, and Neka says, I know of Wendy. And I do understand when she says, I know of Wendy. I might not know Wendy, but I know Wendy. It's because I believe, this is my belief now. I don't know if that's what happens, but I don't know if that's what happened, but this is what I believe, and I believe this to my core, based on everything that I've seen and read. I believe that when the producers reached out to Neka to be on the show, it's like, okay, you're Nigerian. Who do you know on the show? Do you know Wendy? And I think Neka is like, I know Wendy. Like, we're not friends, but I know Wendy. Why do I know Wendy? Because my husband's cousin is Wendy's sister and Wendy's friend, Lebe. Have I seen Wendy before? Yes. And I'm sure Ineka probably walked up to Wendy, and I don't blame Wendy. Wendy may have forgotten because at this point she's already on the show. So I'm sure Ineka must have walked up to Wendy like, hey, hi, whatever. And Wendy's just like, oh, hi, not putting any thoughts to it. Some years back. So yes, have I met Wendy? Yes. Do I know Wendy? Yes. Are we friends? No. I know of her because we have mutual family or mutual friends. And this is what happens in the Nigerian community, especially the Nigerian community abroad. And I'm sure any other immigrants will have that same story. You sort of have like a group, and then you know someone that knows someone that knows someone in one group or the other. It's how it works. If you go to school, the same thing. There's going to be like a Nigerian group or Nigerian club and all of that. You're going to know someone that knows someone that knows someone. That's just it. There are so many influencers or so many people that I watch on Instagram, they are leaving Nigeria or even leaving America or Canada. I might not know them, but I know someone that knows them. So let's say I'm going to go into business with them, and then they ask me, do you know this person? I will say I don't know them personally, but I know of them. Or maybe I've even met them before, but we have a mutual friend. And I think that's how Nneka sort of came on the show. And I do believe that when the producers told Wendy that, hey, there's this someone that says she knows you and bringing on the show, I do believe that Wendy was jealous, and I do believe that Wendy did not like the fact that Nneka was using her name to come on the show, even though I don't think that's what happened. I do believe that the producers are going to bring Nneka on the show, whether or not Wendy says she knew her. But they always like to bring in you coming in, like someone ushering you into the show. They do like that. And they have said that a lot of times. When Candice came on the show, Candice and Ashley were not friends. They all just did pageants together, and that's why Ashley came on the show as... Oh, sorry. Candice came on the show as Ashley's friend. Clearly, we know they're not friends. But anyway, that's just how it happens, right? So I think Wendy was jealous of the fact that Nneka was coming on the show, basically like as, yeah, say you know me, when we don't know each other. And I think that Wendy actually told her sister, like in annoyance, like, who is this girl trying to get clout from my name? And I do believe that the sister actually called Lebe, and I do believe that Lebe obviously said the things that they're insinuating that Lebe said. I do believe all that. Now, this is where I'm getting a bit confused, is why Wendy's mom got involved. At the same time, I cannot put it past Wendy's mom, because one, she's Nigerian, and the Nigerian mom will fight for their kid all day, every day. We saw what she already did with Mia on social media. So do I believe that Wendy's mom called and said all those things? Yes. Now, do I believe that Nneka has added sugar and spice and exaggerated the situation? 110%. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm Nigerian, right? When our Nigerian moms are calling and they're angry about something, they might say things like, I'm going to pray against this. I'm going to pray this. Like, anyone who touches my kid, anyone who's trying to, bring downfall to my family, you're going to, it happens. They say all those things. That's how they speak. That doesn't mean they're worshiping the devil. That doesn't mean they have shrines. No. And Nneka insinuating the shrine thing just made it look so crazy. It's outlandish. It's not that. It's just over-exaggerating. And Nneka knows. I think she knows that she's over-exaggerating, but it's too far gone now that it is what it is. Do I believe that Wendy's mom called Nneka and said, anyone who goes against my kid, I'm going to take your name to so and so, whatever, to the shrine? Yes. I do believe she said that, but I do not believe that she meant anything crazy by it, because it's things that people say in Nigeria. It's like a thing. Hey, if anyone who calls my name in anything bad, bad things are going to happen to you. If you bring up my name for bad, whatever you're planning is going to happen to you. There are things that we say on a normal day, like we say those things. Does not mean that we're practicing witchcraft. Does not mean that we're doing some weird ass shit. Doesn't mean any of those things. So I do believe that Nneka over-exaggerated it. I think that Nneka should have spoken to Wendy side by side and be like, this is what your mom said. You know that where we are right in America right now. Like, we're with a couple of girls that don't understand all this. So, like, don't bring that shit over here. That would have been a separate thing. But I think Nneka saying it to Robin and then saying it to Ash and saying it to the entire table, the way she said it to the table was just crazy. Now, do I believe that Eddie unfollowed or unfriended Ikenna, which is Nneka's husband? 110%. It's obvious. Even Eddie is not a good liar. Even Wendy is not a good liar. Like, when Wendy's lying, she deflects immediately. And she was deflecting like crazy. And even Eddie's like, yo, I just met you. Dude, yes, we may just be meeting face to face, but we know each other because we were in the same Nigerian group. So I know you. It might even be through WhatsApp. It might even be through like Facebook. It might be something. We know each other, dude. Don't make it look like you've never heard my name before. Don't make it look like that, because I think that was what infuriated Ikenna, in the sense that Eddie was trying to act like, yo, you're trying to get clout off me now. I don't know you. Nah, you know him. You might not be friends. You might not be in the same set. You guys may not be in school the same year, but you know him. because you're both in the same Nigerian group. And why were you friends on Facebook? Are you friends with randoms now? I understand that, yeah, Facebook got to the point that we're all friends with random people, but you know him. Like, let's not do this right now. And I love the fact that Ineka called Wendy out, like, if you're saying Lebe is not your friend, why is Lebe getting a special recognition at your own daughter's christening? Come on. And the whole Gele thing, it's nonsense. Nobody even acknowledges that. Gele is something that you give to anybody that can afford it. That's a fact. When I say, okay, I'm having like a party, I'm going to give Gele, I'm giving Gele to my close friends. Wendy gave Giselle the Gele at that point because they were friends. Remember, Wendy's first season, Giselle was her friend. Has nothing to do with Osu or no Osu. So Wendy's foundation was trash. Basically, you give it to anyone that has the money to pay for it. You pay for it, you sell the clothes, but you don't give it to randoms. You give it to people that are actually your close friends, your family, whatever. That's who you give Gele to. But if they can afford it. Pretty much, that's it. There's nothing to, I don't know. I think Wendy is definitely lying. Ineka definitely over-exaggerated. And I hate the fact that they're making Nigeria look like this archaic country. It's so annoying. Like, we have so much to talk about. Like, this is Nigeria for Christ's sake. So I hope we can move past it. And quickly, they need to, like, talk about it and let it go. I'm going to talk a little bit about Robin and Juan and Karen and Giselle's whole thing. All right. Let's talk about Robin and Juan. We all know what happened last season. I talked about it briefly when I was talking about Beverly Hills yesterday. When I said that... last episode. When I said that Sutton should have asked the appropriate questions, because if you don't bring it up, the person who you're trying to talk about is not going to be the one to destroy their own lives. In the sense that Sutton is supposed to ask about Morgan Wade and ask specific questions, because if she doesn't ask those questions, Carol is not going to be the one to volunteer. You're not going to volunteer to destroy your own life. Same with Robin's situation. Now, you do not expect Giselle to be the one to bring it up, because Giselle and Robin are like this. With or without the show, they have businesses together. They are friends, real friends. So yes, should someone else have brought it up? Yes. Now, there was no other person to bring it up, because I don't think the other cast members knew about it. So it was just Giselle who knew about it, and she was not going to bring it up to Robin. Now, Candice insinuated that you perpetrated this whole thing with Chris, that's to Robin, just so that you don't talk about your own thing. You're a fraud. That's a lie. Robin never did anything to Candice. In fact, Robin went against Giselle to side with Candice. Now, at the reunion, what did Robin say? Robin is saying, and I truly believe in that situation, what Giselle said. Chris made me uncomfortable. If I tell you that someone made me uncomfortable, you cannot tell me the person did not make me uncomfortable. I'm sorry, you just cannot. Now, even when Candice said, did he touch you? She said no. Did he do anything else? No. Now, what did Giselle do that was wrong? Giselle went along with trying to gather other people that were against Chris. That's where Giselle pissed me off. But if she had just stood on her own, this is what he did, he made me uncomfortable and I'm done. But she kept twisting the story. She had different stories, and then she brought up the whole happy Eddie thing and brought up the whole thing Chris is also talking to Debbie or looking at Debbie, that's Deborah. And all of those shenanigans, it was so not needed. And I felt like she actually apologized to Candice at the reunion. And there is something that Candice does that pisses me off. And I don't know why the fans don't call it out more. You're someone that's trying to have a baby. You're married to a white man. You're a darker skinned black girl. And then your insults are always to other girls that maybe have some white in them. Whether it's recent, whether it's ancestors, whatever. Like Giselle and Robin and Karen and Ashley, particularly Giselle, Robin, and Ashley, always using the coloring statement on them. I have never seen Giselle, Robin, or Ashley talk to any other person in that cast based on their color. I have never seen it. No one can even point out one time. No one can do that. When he was friends with Giselle, Robin, the first season, before everything fell up, there was nothing about Wendy's color. They're all friends with Cherise. For Christ's sake, Giselle has dark-skinned daughters. What the hell? I don't understand why Candice always comes for the reproductive system. You're coming for someone's uterus. You're coming for someone's ovaries. You are trying to have a baby. Are you crazy? You are trying to have a baby, but you're coming for someone that's already had kids, and you're coming at her reproductive system. If you're not doing that, you're coming about the fact that you're white passing, whatever. You're going to have kids with a white man. Your kids are also going to be white passing. in a way. It's God. I don't know why the fans don't call it out. It pisses me off about Candiace. She does these things, and she's the one that acts like the colorist. I'm sorry. She's the one that does that. She acts like she's not proud of her own skin. She does that. But I digress. I'm sorry. It pisses me off because I watch every season when she goes for like when Ashley was trying to have a kid, she did the same thing. Now that you're trying to have a kid, you're supposed to think about it like, I'm trying to have a kid. You know how that it's like a sacred time, and then you keep going after people's reproductive system time after time after time. But you want God to bless you with a kid? Come on now. Like, let's be for real. You need to I don't know how fans really support this nonsense. I really don't get it. You can insult her look. When I mean her look, I don't mean the fact that she's white passing or whatever Candice calls it. She calls it white passing, right? You can come for her behavior. You can come for her behavior. You can bring up the fact, excuse me. You can bring up the fact that you don't like her behavior. She has a shitty behavior. Do all that. But don't come for her looks. Don't come for her reproductive system. It is weird as hell when you do that, Candice. It is hard for me to be on your side. And when you bring up the whole colorist thing, I do not believe that any of the women in that cast are colorists. I do not see it. I don't believe it. I have been watching since day one. I don't believe it. If there's anyone who acts like they're colorist, it's actually you. My opinion. All right. Moving past all that. Coming into the season, we see that Candice is obviously still upset with, Gizelle, and now upset with Robyn, and then it's affected their relationship. And then she's upset that Robyn is perpetuating the whole Chris thing to kind of take away from her. And no, she's not going to bring up her own shit. If you guys don't bring it up, hey, guess what? Good for her. But she's not going to bring it up. So why you guys are pissed at her, I don't understand. Or why Candice in particular is pissed at her, I don't understand. I can understand Karen. Even Karen being pissed at Robyn is crazy because Karen, we don't know your own story as well. The only reason, no one is going to bring up their own shit. So I don't know why anyone is angry with Robyn. You can be upset that, oh my God, a storyline was missed. Now you bring it up this season. But don't bring it up in the sense that you were not loyal to the group. That's bullshit. Nobody in that group would have brought out that kind of nonsense if it was in their own family. So let's not all pretend. You might not like Robyn, but it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Anyways, and then Candice is like fake crying, like you missed the relationship. How can you say you missed the relationship, but you were happy that one got fired? And then you were calling for Robyn to also be fired. All crying that you guys are friends. And no, anyways, back to the whole, I don't even know where I stopped because I just ranting and ranting. But anyways, that's where so when Candice is upset about crying about the whole thing with crying about the whole thing with Robyn, the situation with Robyn, I get upset because I'm like, no, I can understand your piece with Gizelle, but Gizelle has apologized, and it's okay if you don't want to move forward. That's fine. And I understand where Gizelle is coming from as well, because there were a lot of death threats towards Gizelle and her family. So I can understand why Gizelle is like, I'm done as well. And who's next? And then Karen's storyline this season really is holding Robyn to the fire. And as I said earlier, like, no one is going to bring that about their own family. You guys missed the storyline. It's fine. Bring it up this season and talk about it. That's it. Mia and Gordon, oh my God, it's really upsetting. I feel it's such a sad situation that someone stole their money, the lawyer, and also killed himself. And I understand why Mia is upset with Gordon, because if we didn't file that lawsuit, if we didn't chase it, he wouldn't have killed himself. But like Robyn said, he's done it to other people. It's a sad, sad story because it's now money versus life. Suicide is never okay. It's such a sad situation. I don't know. I don't think there is anything worth killing yourself over. Honestly, life, it's really, really hard. Sometimes it can be what not living, but then you have to grasp onto those things that make it worth living and go day by day, because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Always. So it was really sad to hear that he had killed himself, and now it's kind of causing a strain in the marriage because Mia is scared. Like, what if something else bad happens? But Gordon is like, where's my money? All about the money. So it's a difficult situation all around. Who else have I not spoken about? Gizelle and Jason. I know some people do not believe the relationship. I believe the relationship. I do. I think it would be nice, like Karen said, if he's not on the phone and we get to see him and he films with them. He's in the Bravo world. He knows the whole thing. So I think he'll be comfortable filming. I think I hope he gets to film with them before the end of the season. I think I want to leave it off like that because Potomac is really toxic, but I love it. It's very, very, very triggering and, very, which is what we love about Housewives really at the end of the day, is that they talk about what's happening in today's world, and it's fun. It's also not fun, and we get to go through all those things together. So I'm truly excited to see where the next episode of Potomac goes and all of that. I love everyone. I would say this though. When Candiace was talking to her mom and her mom was like, where's Chris? You can tell that the mom is kind of irritated that Chris is not working. You can tell that she doesn't like Chris. Till now, I thought that they had moved past it. And unfortunately, I think Candiace is going to alienate herself out of the group because Karen is friends with Gizelle. Gizelle is friends with almost everyone in the group aside from Wendy and Candiace. You don't want to be on an island on your own. And now they're bringing people into the group. I think producers bringing in Neka. I wish if Wendy had actually embraced the Neka, they would have been a good trio. So it's unfortunate that they're bringing people into the cast and Candiace is not getting along. For now, Candiace is getting along with Neka, but by virtue of Wendy, she's not going to. Because she even said the same thing, that in order for her to be friends with Robin, she doesn't think that, she cannot be friends with Robin if Robin is going to be friends with Gizelle. Well, Robin is friends with Gizelle. Gizelle has not done anything so crazy. I am sorry. This is Housewives. If Gizelle said Chris made her uncomfortable, he made her uncomfortable. Now, should she have gone along and twisted the story? No, but she has apologized profusely. Housewives, you have to have the ability to move forward. You and Chris are together. You're not getting divorced. Your marriage is fine. Why are we still talking about it? You have to have the ability to move forward. I am sorry. That is Housewives. If you want to have a real argument with someone that in real life, yes, fight for like 10 years. On Housewives, you have to move it. Look at Salt Lake. Take a cue from Salt Lake. Move forward fast. All right, I'm going to end it here. I'm just going to look at my notes to be sure that I've taken everything that I wanted to talk about. I think I have. I cannot wait to see what Sunday gives, and then we get to talk about it next week. So stick around, guys.
Somebody's buying